Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how to apply eyeshadow for deep set eyes. If you aren't sure what kind of eyes you have, then don't worry, I've got you covered. I have done a video on how to find your eye shape. In that video I've talked about the different kinds of eye shapes, and I've also included a few pictures of each eye shape, so that would hopefully give you some clarity on what kind of eye shape you have. So anyway, I have deep set eyes, which means my brow bone, as you can see, is more prominent and it makes my eyes look like they're deep set within the socket. So I have done a similar video on this, on how to apply eyeshadows on deep set eyes in the past, and since I've updated my method of applying my eyeshadows, I thought I'd update you guys as well. But if you prefer doing it the old way, then stick to it by all means. But if you'd like to see how I apply my eyeshadow now, then please keep on watching. Oh, before starting, make sure to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click on the notification bell so you're updated every single time I upload new videos. But otherwise, let's get straight into this tutorial. Okay, so I've already prepped my skin, so now I'm going to prime my eyes. To do that, I'm going to use my L'Oreal True Match Concealer, and this is in the shade 3DW. So I'm just going to apply that onto my eyelid, on my brow bone as well. To buff the concealer, I'm going to use my Zoeva 142 concealer buffer. I'm just going to evenly spread the product on my eyelid, and that's going to create a base for my eyeshadows. And then to set the concealer in place, I'm going to use my Becca Multitasking Perfecting Powder, and this is in the shade Beige. So I'm just going to apply that over the concealed area. So this is going to create a smooth surface for my eyeshadows. So today I'm going to be playing with my Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm going to do a neutral sort of smoky eye. So to start off with, I'm going to use this shade here, and I'm going to apply that into my crease but slightly above, using my Zoeva Luxe crease brush, and this is the 228 brush. So I'm going to dip the sides of this brush and not go dipping in like straight across into the pan. I'm going to dip it on the side. So as you can see, there's colour on the side there and not like all the way in the centre. So using the shade, I'm going to apply it to my crease from the outer corner, and I'm just going to use circular motions and work the product into the inner corner. Okay, so that colour's not doing anything for me. So instead, I'm going to use this shade here, and using the same brush, I'm going to apply that to my crease. Again, using circular motions on the outside, and then just windscreen wiper motions, dragging the product to the inner corner. I haven't had much of a chance to play with this palette. I've hardly touched the shades in that palette, so I can't wait to use this a bit more. These shades are so creamy and so buttery so far, and blending is so easy. So this transition shade I'm going to take all the way to the inner corner, and I'll take the next one into the inner corner as well. Whatever product's left on the brush, I'm just going to sweep it out towards the end of my brow. So because I have deep set eyes, it gives the illusion that my brow bone is quite prominent and my eyelid or the eyeball is deep set within the socket. So a good guide for me, this might work for you as well, a good guide for me is if I look to the side, I can see the crease where it ends in the inner corner. So that's where I like to take the transition shade, and then whatever product's left on the brush, I'm just going to drag it up towards the brow bone. Now I'm just going to quickly repeat this on the other side as well. Now I'm going to use Now I'm going to use a shade slightly darker. So I'm going to use this shade here. Using the same brush, I'm going to dip it straight into the palette. This way, hopefully you can see the product is more on the bristles, like on the more pointed bristles and not on the side. Can you see that? So this shade I'm going to use straight across in the crease. So this brings the colour slightly lower than the transition shade. And I'm still using circular motions and then windscreen wiper motions towards the inner corner. Can you see? Hopefully you can see that it's giving it a bit more depth to the crease. And then you want to do the same thing, drag the colour or drag the shade towards the outer edge of the brow. And then again, you want to look to the side so that you can outline your crease a little bit more with the product. And then when you're happy with the intensity of that colour, all you need to do is buff the colour out a little bit. So to do that, I'm using my Real Techniques 203 brush, and this is a fluffy blending brush, and I'm just going to marry those two colours. There you go. So that's looking a bit more diffused. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side as well. For the next shade, I'm going to use my Zoeva Luxe Petite Crease brush, and this is the 231. I'm going to use this shade right here, which is more of a dark chocolatey brown colour, and I'm going to apply that to the outer crease. So again, I'm dipping the brush straight in, so the product is more concentrated on these bristles and not on the sides. Dusting off the excess, I'm going to apply that to the outer crease or the outer V, and I'm not going to drag this shade all the way to the inner corner, only halfway, maybe slightly more than halfway. So I'm applying the shade slightly lower than the previous shade. So can you see, I'm not dragging it all the way, just sort of halfway, maybe a little bit more than halfway in. Whatever product's left on the brush, I'm going to drag it slightly outwards. Not all the way as the other colours, but just a little bit. So again, circular motions on the outside and then windscreen wiper motions towards the inside. And then next you want to bring the colour onto your eyelid as well, and you want to buff that colour in towards the centre of the lid, and this will create that smoky sort of effect going from light to dark. So now that's done, I'm going to use my Zoeva Luxe Defined Crease brush, and this is the 224 brush. As you can see, it's a blending brush, but it's very small and very fluffy. So this is perfect, I think, to go into the crease, but not buff the colour out all the way to the brow bone. This is a perfect tiny blending brush. So now I'm just blending that dark chocolatey colour with the colours above, but not going all the way. Can you see how that's just slightly lifted my eye up? So with deep set eyes, most often your eye looks more downturned because the brow bone is just so prominent, it hides part of your lid. So that's why I find this technique helps to lift my eye a little bit. Okay, so now that's as blended as can be. Going back to the Jaclyn Hill palette, I'm going to use this shade here now. So today I'm going to use my Zoeva Luxe Smoky Shader brush, and it's the 234. I'm just going to apply the shade to the eyelid. I'm sticking with matte shades today. If you'd like, you can apply a shimmer, that's absolutely fine. And now going in with the same fluffy blending brush, the 224 brush, just going to buff the edges so that everything looks nice and blended. So now there's a bit of a gap there, which I'm going to fill with a lighter brown shade. I'm going to use the same 231 Luxe Petite Crease brush, and I'm going to use this shade here, and I'm going to apply that to the gap in between the really dark colour on the end there and the light colour here, so everything looks blended. It doesn't matter if you've used the same brush because it is a smoky look, so it does have to look blended from light to dark. And then going in with the same shader brush again, I'm just going to make it look slightly diffused. And then going in with the Luxe Petite Luxe Definer brush, just going to blend these edges in between the light and the brown shade. There you go. So now all I'm going to do is wipe off the excess eyeshadow here so it looks a bit more sharp, and I'm going to do the rest of my makeup and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've done the rest of my makeup. All I have to do now is fill in the lower lash line and my eyelashes. I'm basically recreating what I did on the top lid. So using a crease brush, a fluffy crease brush by Morphe. This was from the 12-piece set, so it doesn't have a name or a number. I'm going in with the same shade that I used as the transition shade, which is this one here. I have used this brush for the crease like it's supposed to be used, but I personally don't find it that good. I like using it on the lower lash line because it's quite fluffy and it distributes the colour quite evenly on the lower lash line. So I'm just applying this colour all the way to the inner corner. If you'd like, you can stop over there, but I like taking it all the way in because if you can see, I have a slight dip as my lower lash line goes to the end there. So that's why I like taking it all the way to the inner corner, just so it's a bit more even looking. And then using the same brush, I'm going to go in with the shade that I used later on in my transition area, which is this shade here. So I'm dragging this one in all the way to the inner corner as well. So now that's done, I'm going to use my Morphe flat top brush. And this is again from the 12-piece set, so no name or number. I'm going to use that dark brown shade that I used in the outer corner, and I'm just going to apply that to the outer 2/3 of the eye, so I'm not going all the way in. And then using the brush I used earlier, just going to blend it out a little bit more. There you go. So now that's done, I'm going to quickly apply my eyeliner, eyelashes, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've applied my eyelashes, I've applied the rest of my makeup. So now I'm going to highlight the inner corners of my eyes and the brow bone as well. So to do that, I'm using the first shade from the Jaclyn Hill palette. So before I used to apply the shade to the inner corner and the lower lash line here as well. But since I've noticed that dip there, I only apply the eyeshadow up here. Using the same shade, I'm going to highlight my brow bone as well. I forgot to mention the brush I'm using. So I'm using the Real Techniques accent brush. I think this is supposed to be for the lip, but I prefer using it for highlighting my brow bone and the inner corner. So I'm just applying the brow bone highlight to the bottom of where my arch is, where the eyebrow arch is, because I feel like it just makes this part look a little bit more lifted. I've started doing this a bit more recently. So I take my Becca multitasking powder again, so the powder that I use to set my face, I just use a little bit of that on a shader brush, and I like applying that to the inside there, and I like buffing it out because when I apply my eyeshadow, I notice that I'm applying the transition shade all the way up here on the inside of the brow bone. So using this skin coloured shade, I'm just lowering the point of where I apply my transition shade, and then using the Real Techniques brush again, I'm just going to buff out that inner corner there. So this is the final look. I hope you guys found this tutorial quite helpful. My original plan was to do an eye series where I do different sorts of makeup looks, eye looks on my eye shape, and hopefully that would guide you to doing those sort of looks for deep set eyes. The reason is because when I've looked on YouTube myself to find any tips or tricks on how to, you know, apply these kind of eyeshadows for deep set eyes, I didn't find that many videos. So that's why I decided to create this eye series sort of playlist for you guys to watch over the different kinds of eye looks you can do on deep set eyes. And also please comment down below if you do anything differently, if you have deep set eyes and if you've tried different sort of techniques that have helped you. And yeah, just leave your tips and tricks down in the comments section below and I'll be happy to try them myself. I'm constantly experimenting with my eye shape because there aren't that many videos. I'm constantly changing the way I apply my eyeshadows and things, but I think now I've found something that works for me. I have done a similar video in the past, but using that sort of technique just doesn't do it for me anymore. So since I've bought new brushes and I've been playing around with them as well, I find that this technique works better for me. As always, leave some video suggestions in the comments down below, or if you're following me on Instagram, then DM me there as well. I don't mind, and I'll do some of those videos for you. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!